Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, 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 1, 2, 3, testing. So let's get started with the next chapter, chapter 55. Summer 2015. May was a pivotal month. In addition to drumming up viewers for Erica's film, she also had a very important family meeting. On Thursday, April 30th, Erica packed her bags, made certain that Michael and Kamali'i would be well cared for in the next 2 months. When they cuddled on the couch, she made sure that it's all about Michael. After he carefully thought through what he was going to say, he carefully talked with her about his fear that this would change her. She carefully thought about it, and she told him that she will always be that little girl who was told by her parents that they don't have enough money. Every winter was bitter cold in her parents' home. Her main goal is to pay it forward. She will do as much as she can to help other people. It all started with Chachi when she was in chronic pain after her endometriosis surgery. As evidenced by the wedding in Japan, Hawaii, she only asked for a wedding ring that cost the least. She asked if this was what he was asking. Much to her relief, he nodded. He carefully warned her to not spoil her father. The last thing he needs is for him to lean on her whenever there's a government shutdown and when he comes to their home asking for money. She respectfully disagreed. Her father grew up living below the poverty line in Japan. He would be motivated to pay her back every penny she spends on getting him back. He hates being indebted to other people. However, she will keep her guard up, make certain she doesn't spoil her father. As she looked at Michael, he looked at her and saw that she was telling the truth. For now, he let the matter go and nodded. He hoped she is telling him the truth. Michael did have a valid point. She was going to pay for her father's expenses until he gets back on his feet. However, she already put the money from the sale of his home into a trust fund under his name. She made the mental note to not add any additional money to that account. At this point, they agreed that she can help her father when he lives in their gated community. However, once he makes the permanent move to his parents' community, they are in charge. She nodded. Besides, the immigration attorney for New York City will ask a hefty fee for his services. After going to the website of his law firm, she saw that the basic fee and was stunned. It's true about this country, money talks. Since the attorney will know how much she's getting from her film, he's going to ask for more than his usual asking price. Michael decided he'll join her when the attorney arrives in San Francisco. She got Michael into her personal room. After she logged online, she saw exactly how much his parents paid for their home in Brisbane. In front of Michael, she deposited only that amount in the trust fund under her father's name. She moved the difference back into the family trust. When she looked at Michael, he nodded. On Saturday, May 2nd, Michael drove her to San Francisco International Airport. Lucas was already checked in. After Erica gave Michael a quick kiss, she went through the check-in line. He stayed outside the airport to watch her plane take off. Since this was a 12-hour flight, she got a chance to get to know Lucas better. His mother is made in Japan Japanese, just like Erica's mother. At the university, she met a man who was right for her. However, the economy was down and there weren't enough jobs for university graduates, so he left the country. After carefully telling her parents about her situation, she got their blessing to let her go to New York City to look for work. Soon after she arrived, she met another man who was right for her. However, he was not Japanese. She carefully thought through what she was going to say to her parents. Much to her relief, they approved of her marriage to a person who is not Japanese. At this time, it was during a time when anti-miscegenation laws were in effect. As a result, they flew to his mother country of Scotland to get married. Scotland did not have any such law, so this was the best possible country for them to apply for a marriage certificate. A few years later, the United States declared the law unconstitutional, and people were finally legally allowed to marry a person of a different racial background. After they got married, she was in the family way, so her husband escorted her back to Japan so her family can better take care of her. Unfortunately, she was having twins, and her obstetrician had just lost one of his patients and both of her unborn babies. So she flew back to the United States where she can get better prenatal and delivery care. Much to everyone's relief, labor and delivery was uneventful and she had 2 happy and healthy fraternal twins. At this time, her husband revealed that twins do run in his side of the family, so she was happy with 2 children. Decades later, Lucas was attending Columbia University. His twin, Lewis, was attending the University of California at Los Angeles on a football scholarship. Lucas majored in drama theater arts. During summer break, he used his video recorder, a JVC GR-C1 video movie camcorder. It was the very first VHS-C camcorder. His parents gave it to him as a present for getting into Columbia University. He was in Central Park filming wildlife. When he saw a pretty lady, she started to film her. Since she is super smart, she knew exactly what he was doing, so she looked directly into the camcorder and waved. He was shocked and almost dropped his camcorder. That started the conversation. She was home for summer break from Dartmouth College. Both of her parents met and graduated from that university. They too did not agree with their country's anti-miscegenation law. That's what sealed the deal. They decided to get married. She is their firstborn. Her younger brother is Peter, who later worked at the clinic. As they talked, she surmised that he is part Japanese. He nodded. Her paternal grandfather started a business that helps connect small business from New York City with small businesses in various countries in Europe and Asia. Her father started a satellite office in Tokyo. He was in awe. Not surprisingly, after they graduated from their respective universities, they got married. Their firstborn is a daughter. Their second pregnancy resulted in fraternal twins, a boy and a girl. The firstborn got married soon after her uncle's passing, Peter. Her firstborn's middle name is Peter after his late great uncle. Erica was in awe. By this time, the plane landed in Tokyo. It was May. It wasn't as hot as humid as it gets during the summer. While they waited in line to register as temporary immigrants at the customs area, Erica called Michael to let him know that they have arrived safely. Since Lucas will stay there for a month, Lucas booked an Airbnb. This apartment has free Wi-Fi, shared kitchen, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a laundry room is in one of the bathrooms, and has climate control, heating, and cooling. As soon as they settled, they walked into town to get some groceries for the day. In the States, you have to drive a car and buy 1 week's worth of groceries at a time. In contrast, Japan's system allows for walking a short distance, and most people buy that day's groceries per shopping trip. It took a while for Erica to get used to their system. However, she loved the fact that the food was much fresher and less dependent on preservatives. Plus, since she has endometriosis, she needs to control the ingredients that is in the food she eats. Much to her relief, the nearest grocery store was on the other side of the public train tracks. Although it's a bit loud during the day, she appreciated the fact that the train does stop at night and does not resume until next morning. During the day, they went sightseeing. In the evenings, they went to a local movie theater to attend the premiere of her film. From the concrete sidewalks and asphalt roads, they went into one of the high-rise buildings in Tokyo. After going up several escalators, they finally got to the movie theater. When they finally went up the last escalator, she saw retractable belt barriers, line stanchions, to let people know where they need to go to get to the ticket counter. There were also signs as well. Directly overhead in the center, they saw a disco ball and the second floor surrounding the disco ball with movie posters lining the walls. There was also an attendant to help with questions on how to use the machine. There were several kiosks where they paid for the ticket. After patrons get their ticket, they follow more signs to the concession stands. There are several cash registers and attendants at each. On the counter is a picture menu where patrons can order either verbally or point to what they want. Each patron gets a tray with their order. Once they pass back through the ticket counter, they go into an elevator to the next floor. After looking at their ticket for the theater number, patrons look for the correct theater and walk in. The seats are set up stadium style with an oversized screen in front of the room. There's a stage directly in front of the screen. Once all the people are seated, Lucas introduced himself and thanked everyone for attending the premiere of Erica's film. Since Lucas's Japanese is not as good as it needs to be, he hired a translator. So they spoke English and listened carefully to the translator. Next, he asked them to stay after the end credits for a question and answer session. After the film ended, the lights came back on. Feedback from the audience was different than the States. Quite a number of them compared their film to a television series called Oregon Kara Ai, From Oregon with Love. It was a television series from 1984 to 1996. The series focused on a 9-year-old Japanese boy who moved to Oregon after the death of his parents. His sister was left behind in Japan. The story showed this journey adapting to a new country, new language, and new culture. Erica vaguely remembered watching that series from San Francisco's television station KTSF Channel 26. At this time, Erica wondered whether or not they have a DVD of this series. Granted, it has been a while, but it would be nostalgic to watch a series from her childhood. Same as in San Francisco and New York City, as soon as word got out about a film that is making a lot of money, other movie theaters in Tokyo offered to show this film at their theater. When it was evening in California, Erica made certain to call Michael to see how he and Kamali'i were doing. At the end of 2 weeks, Erica thanked Lucas for all of his help. Throughout the day, Michael called Erica with an update on when he and his parents arrived at San Francisco International Airport, as well as the one in Tokyo. At this time, Erica packed her bags, headed to the international airport. When they arrived at the airport, Erica and Lucas went to customs to wait for Michael and his parents to arrive. After they were reunited, Erica called her uncle. Lucas said goodbye to them, returned to the apartment to continue promoting their film. After Erica and Michael hugged each other, they went to the domestic terminal. Since there was a 2-hour layover, they ate breakfast together. They used this time to catch up. When it was time to board the next plane, she called her uncle again. Then they boarded the plane. During the hour-and-a-half flight, Erica reconnected with Michael at the domestic airport close to her grandmother's village. They went to baggage claim area. Her uncle was already there. They used public transportation to get to the island. Erica was in awe at how much her late grandmother's fishing village has improved. When she first visited this area, there were so many rundown, mold-infested homes with rust, overgrown trees, and weeds. The homes contained abandoned appliances, furniture, personal belongings. The streets were composed of gravel and accessible only by foot. There were overhead power lines with pre-war sewage system. The village was surrounded by an ocean with mountains. The mountains were densely packed with old-growth trees and bamboo forests. The buildings lined along the coast. The water was so pretty that you can see the rocks on the bottom of the coast. In the past, the only way to get to this village was using a ferry. In sharp contrast, today you can fly to the nearest domestic airport. From the airport, you can board the public train to the nearest town. Then you take the bus that would drive you over the land bridge and into the village. When they were able to install underground power lines, they had them installed. Also, the plumbing is now postmodern with bidets, and the roads can now accommodate sedan-style cars, small trucks, and small buses. The village is full of remodeled ryokans with modern amenities such as central air conditioning, central heating, and a choice of Western-style bedroom, or a traditional bedroom with tatami flooring, futon, and Japanese-style bidet and ofuro. All of the ryokans are remodeled akiyas. Each ryokan is made from natural materials. The primary material is Japanese cypress, hinoki, or cedar wood. It's durable, has a natural scent, has an aesthetic quality. The tatami mats are made from rice straw with woven soft rush. The shoji sliding panels placed on windows and doors are made from thin, translucent washi paper and has a wooden lattice around it. This allows diffused light to enter while maintaining privacy. The base of the roofs are made from earth and clay, and the foundations, gallery paths, stepping stones, water basins contain stones. The rooms are separated by fusuma sliding panels covered in fabric or paper. Wall bases, tokonoma alcove structures, and decorative lattices are made from bamboo. There are also private and public onsens, a couple of grocery stores, restaurants, and a gift shop for visitors. The village also has a fishing pier and a dock that has boats tied to it. Since May is not the height of the visitor season, there were only a few people visiting the area. During the summer months, there are sightseeing boat trips. Today, there's a sign letting people know they will resume operation in June, and apologies for the inconvenience. If one is lucky, you might see a dolphin or a whale during your trip. Let me go grab some water. After Erica, Michael and his parents checked into her sister-in-law's ryokan, they headed to her late grandmother's home to help the family prepare the lunch. Once the woman cleaned up after lunch, Erica, her aunts and uncles, Michael, his parents had a family meeting. Since Erica was instrumental in helping her aunts and uncles figure out what's going on, her uncles carefully listened to what she had to say. Then they carefully listened to Michael and his parents' proposal to return her father back to the States. Not surprisingly, they were very receptive to the idea. They were sick and tired of babysitting him and taking care of their Yukon at the same time. The big question was how to present this proposal to her father in a way that he will be fully on board. Erica said that she'll let them do all the talking. To make certain she doesn't influence his decision, she would turn off her feelings when they talked to him. That was the missing piece that they needed. After dinner, Michael and his father and Erica's uncles went to her father's home, spent a good part of the evening talking with him. Since Japan is safe, Erica spent this time going to the local cemetery alone. This village's cemetery was located near a shrine. Both of her grandparents were cremated and their ashes placed inside stone gravestones. These gravestones contain vertical columns with black or gray stones with names written on them. At the base of the gravestone, she placed flowers in the vase, burned some incense that was in the stand. She also put some food items that were a favorite of both of her grandparents, and she poured some water onto the gravestones. She took out her prayer beads and prayed. Her prayer was broken when she heard Michael's soft footsteps. Much to her relief, her father was fully on board returning to the States. She did the right thing, bringing her mother and brother back to Japan. However, her carefully laid plans were broken when he did abruptly decide to return to Japan to try to repair his marriage. It took this long for Erica to earn enough money to bring him back to the States. Since this brought back some of Erica's anger toward her father, she made a mental note to resume marriage, family, and child counseling with the clinic's counselor. So for the remainder of the stay in the village, Erica kept her feelings turned off. Granted, this was great news. Plus, her mother will finally be able to breathe a sigh of relief. She won't need to watch her back the entire time he's in the village. With him out of the country, she can focus on her teaching job and taking care of her siblings. Also, there was an interesting but not surprising development. With an ongoing teacher shortage in Japan, her mother's school wants her to work past the retirement age. Granted, it will only be a 5-year extension at best. However, her students love her. Her annual work evaluation is entirely positive. It will be extremely difficult for her school to find a suitable replacement. Plus, the longer they delay retirement, her quality of life will remain high. Erica had to hope that she brought her mother back to Japan will mitigate the negative effect living in North America had on her mom. Moreover, she hoped that her mom would spend her retirement helping her siblings run their ryokan, but socialization would keep her mind sharp. It also made Erica wonder about her own retirement. As long as she lives in the States, she will have to continue making a significant amount of money for as long as possible. And Michael's parents are counting on her to continue to take care of their son. It was a lot to process, and she hopes that she did the right thing for everyone. Erica's brother's partner is also keeping an eye on her brother and guiding his behavior as well. When she saw her uncles, she felt her anger toward her father as well. However, she also felt a relief. He's no longer their concern. Erica spent the rest of her stay helping her father go to his alma mater to get paper transcripts. Once he returns to the States, she can get them translated to English. She can let the immigration attorney know when he'll return to the States so they can expedite the process to help him get his permanent resident card back. Depending on how things go, she may ask her father to consider changing his citizenship. That way they won't have to keep going through the attorney to keep him in that country. The next morning after breakfast, Erica gave her aunts, uncles, and parents some snacks from the department store in Tokyo. Not surprisingly, she saw her parents smile for the first time since her mother and brother returned to Japan. Sadly, Erica did not see the two cats any longer. Her aunt said that they disappeared sometime that evening. It made sense. They're no longer needed. Everybody's where they need to be, and her father is permanently leaving this village. At this time, Michael told Erica that her uncles carefully told her father he's not to return, and he's not to make any contact with anyone in this village once he leaves. Much to their relief, her father acquiesced and promised that he will not attempt any contact with anyone from their village. And this promise includes her brother. They need to make certain that her brother continues to follow their rules and carefully listens to his partner. He cannot afford to be distracted. Moreover, no one else in Japan will marry a gay man. The same goes with his partner. Both of them will lose everything if their marriage folds. This also extended to Erica. Although she is allowed to freely come and go to this village, she also has a gag order. She's not to talk about her father the entire time she's in their village. Moving forward, she nodded. In addition, after the summer season ends, her aunt would take her mother and brother to a nearby city hospital, have them assess the toxins that are in their bodies, and start detoxifying regimen. When she breathed a sigh of relief, he nodded. The evening before she and Michael left the village, Erica gave him an exclusive screening of her film. They were disappointed that it was completely different from her senior capstone project, but they understood why it had to be changed. The film is for the international audience, and her family situation is none of anyone else's business. Plus, her father's journey was yet to be written, so they were grateful that he was only mentioned and not in the script. They were, however, happy that her grandmother was the focus of the film and was portrayed in the best possible light. They quietly wept when they saw the end credits. In loving memory of all my grandparents. That night, Erica's aunt gave her a cloth bag of washable underwear and some toko. Next, Erica and Michael took a long hot bath in their private onsen and spent this time quietly reflecting on the past month. It was not a perfect solution. However, her parents should not have married in the first place. Erica's classmates in high school already learned that when their parents got a divorce. It took Erica longer due to the back and forth over the past 15 years. If reincarnation is a thing, she hoped in her father's next life, he'll be born in the States to white parents and siblings. She wondered how anyone in their 20s could figure out who's right or wrong for them. Moreover, since her father's parents were in their 50s and 60s, she wondered why it did not cross their mind that this match was wrong and to stop it from happening in the first place. Her brother said that he met with their father's siblings. She wondered if she could meet with them. Moreover, she didn't understand why her father asked her mother to marry him when he hated Japanese people. For now, she had to put on the back burner since there was nothing she could surmise from a distance. Next morning, her uncle escorted them to the domestic airport. As was his custom, he gave each of them a bear hug, wished them a safe flight home. When they landed at the International Airport in Tokyo and Hawaii, Erica called her uncle to let them know that they arrived safely. At the airport in Hawaii, Erica and Michael were greeted by Jonathan and Michael's elder sisters. After they settled in their hotel, Michael's sister made a huge announcement. His eldest sister's 3 children are all grown, university educated, started their careers, married with at least one child of their own. As a result, next summer, she and her husband will move to their gated community in California. They will live in the spare duplex. Michael's younger sister has both of her children in college. She will live in the grand new unit a few years later. Erica was thrilled. She always wanted a chance to get to know them better. However, the sporadic trips to Hawaii weren't enough. When she looked at Michael, she realized that he already knew and wanted his sisters to give her the news directly. As a result, lunch at the restaurant was lively. Same as Michael, they wanted to return to California. However, with marriage, career, children, they had to put their plans on hold. Now that they're empty nesters, they can live wherever they want. So they're going to spend the following year or so looking for work in California. Thankfully, both of them have an advanced degree in international business, so they can either work for a company or start their own. Both of their husbands have advanced degrees in the travel industry management, so they can do the same. His parents offered to help them with finances while they get a new start. Also, through Maria, they can connect with members of the Murray family to help them as well. So even the Hashimoto family is making improvements. Erica and Michael spent the rest of the dinner catching each other up. Although they were sad that Erica's parents won't reconcile, they were relieved to know that her father will return to the States. At the very least, Erica won't be the only Sasaki in the States from now on. So that evening, Erica and Michael had a private dinner. That summer was their 10th wedding anniversary. During dinner, Michael's cell phone had a message. Kim and Richard went to a local animal shelter. They found a dog that matched the one in Erica's dream. Since there is a long waiting list of people who also want to see that dog, they immediately adopted her. Her temporary name is Leilani. Leilani means heavenly flower, child of royalty. They will make sure she goes to local vet, get her vaccines updated, get dog-human communication training, and they will keep her until Erica returns from her business trip. At the time, they would transfer ownership of the dog to Erica and Michael. Erica was thrilled. Hopefully her father will be smitten with the dog, otherwise they might have to keep the dog. Hashtag winky face. So they spent the night at the local hotel. Um, the next day, Erica took Michael to the airport so he can fly back to the mainland. Ooh, she was sad to see him go. However, she knew that Jonathan needed help getting more people to watch the film. Fortunately, they had the Hashimoto family help them not only get more people to watch, they also had contacts with local movie theaters on all the inhabited islands. The fact that it was summer with visitors flying in also helped bring the numbers up. Moreover, he needed to return to the Bay Area to resume working, taking care of Kamali and now also Leilani as well. Also, she used this downtime to get to know Jonathan better. After they checked into the Airbnb, he talked with her about his family. His grandfather left Okinawa to start his life in Hawaii. When he arrived in Hawaii, he found work at a sugarcane farm. There he met several men from Japan who also left Japan to start their life. He quickly befriended one of them. They became the best friends. Everything seemed alright until he met the woman from Japan and decided to marry her. Much to his shock, his friend from Japan got mad, insisted that he call off the wedding. When he refused, the man from Japan left Hawaii and moved on to California. The woman from Japan became his wife. Erica wasn't surprised. Even today, many Japanese people are xenophobic and insist on marrying their own kind. She was saddened that it cost a valuable friendship. Decades later, Jonathan started attending the University of Southern California. He left his family in Hawaii behind. He attended a local Buddhist temple. For the first few years, he did see a Japanese American woman, her Italian American husband, and the two children from a distance. When he saw the local news state that he was killed by a drunk driver, he wanted to help. However, he was not certain how to approach her. Around this time, he met Peter, Maria's future husband. All of them were students at the same university, and Jonathan introduced a Japanese American woman to his friend. She was stunned. Although she lives in Los Angeles, she knew about the Murphy family in San Francisco. That sealed the deal. After they graduated, she agreed to marry him. He adopted both of her children. After their marriage, they moved to San Francisco. Less than a year later, their son, Jonathan Jr., was born. When they did an ancestry search, they were stunned. Her grandfather was the Japanese man who left Hawaii after his Okinawan friend announced that he's going to marry a Japanese woman. Erica was in awe. She said, "Small world." He nodded. At this time, Erica carefully said that Jonathan pulled a Michael. When he had a confused look on his face, she explained, Michael also left Hawaii to come to California to get a university education and a wife. He laughed out loud. She had a very good point. During their work in Hawaii, he showed her a photograph of his grandparents. Since he's more than a decade older than Erica, she was not surprised that his grandparents had passed. She also showed him a photo of her grandparents. When he said they looked happy in the photo, she nodded. The rest of the month was busy drumming up additional people to watch her film. Although there's about 1 million people living in Hawaii, they had over 9 million people visit the islands that year. So Erica was not surprised that more than 1 million people watched her film from that island. When she returned to San Francisco at the end of the month, she called her uncle to let him know that she has returned home. So she called Michael from the international airport in Hawaii. Michael knew when to arrive at the airport to pick her up. The new dog, Leilani, was everything Erica hoped for. She had a calm presence, quickly adjusted to her new people. Also, the dog got along with Halia and Kamali as well. There wasn't any wonder that there was a long waiting list of people who wanted to meet this dog. She's the right dog for a lot of people. The wild card was her father. Is she the right dog for him? Since Kamali is a therapy dog, Erica and Michael got her temperament checked. Sadly, Leilani does not have the right temperament to be a therapy dog. However, the trainer immediately realized Leilani will make the perfect service dog. With Michael's blessing, they started Leilani's training to become a service dog. This was an interesting turn of events. Erica knew that her father has post-traumatic stress disorder for being born in the wrong country to wrong parents, wrong siblings. This might be a sign that he needs a service dog. Plus, with the right dog, she knew that dogs can bring out the best in people, and dogs bring the right people together. The other interesting thing that happened was the fact that Michael's parents adopted 2 dogs that summer. The animal shelter said that it would be okay to separate them. However, his mother did not have the heart to separate them, so they adopted both of them. The rest of the summer was busy getting both gated communities ready for her father's return. Also, when Michael drove her home, Erica saw a letter from Western Japan. One of her female cousins on her father's side of the family reached out to her. Her uncles wants to meet with her. When she looked at Michael, she asked him where he wants to go the following year. He said he always wanted to go visit World War II memorials at Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and Okinawa. They could swing by and meet with them. So after they went to the local travel agency, she replied to a cousin's letter with their itinerary. This was an interesting turn of events. Although she can't talk with her grandparents since they passed away, she can at least try to communicate with her uncles and gain insight into her strange side of the family. At this time, she wrote to her uncle on her mother's side, told him that she'll visit various World War sites in Japan the following summer. She respectfully neglected to mention that she will also visit her father's side of the family. As Alex and Chachi were on vacation, Erica and Michael had a mini meeting with Deb and Kim, Richard, and Yennefer about their father's situation. At this time, she set up ground rules about what they can and cannot say when he temporarily moves into their gated community. Michael's parents did the same with their neighbors to help prepare them for their father's permanent move into their gated community. This time, Erica and Michael went over how they will relay the message to Alex and Chachi when they return. Granted, since Chachi owns a former restaurant in San Francisco, she knows how to be discreet. However, they need to make sure she won't blurt out anything that isn't appropriate. With this downtime, Erica used the next 2 months to get as much done as possible. During the weekends, she and Michael worked together to clean up the grand unit. They had the priest spiritually cleanse and bless the house. They moved their parents' stuff from the spare duplex into this grand unit. This included furniture, kitchenware, dinnerware, linens, books. At this time, she made a mental note to get feedback from her father regarding what he'll take with him to his new home and what he will leave behind. It was a lot of stuff, and some might have painful memories of his failed marriage. Those she would donate to a local charity. She did that with the stuff with her mother and brother left behind. They don't need those items in Japan, or they don't have the space with their tiny akiyas turned ryokans. However, Erica kept a couple of items from each person. In terms of her mom, she kept her mother's purse that she had brought with her from Japan. It was a vintage 1980s silk embroidered purse with a silver metal clasp with a 24-inch long metal chain and floral tapestry. She also kept the marriage child family books she brought from Japan as well. In terms of her brother, she kept a handmade ceramic vase pottery that he made himself. The rest of their belongings went to a local charity. Also, Michael brought up the fact that her father would need a word processor and a computer. He proposed donating both of his appliances. Also, her father could start by going to a local community college, adult school to learn how to use a computer. He'll make certain to buy a new computer and transfer files. Then he'll do a factory reset so her father won't be able to access any of his files. Much to his relief, she nodded. On next shopping trip to Costco. Yes, you can get computers at Costco. He bought his new computer and external hard drive. That weekend he set them up. At the clinic, she made appointments with a counselor to help her adjust to her father returning to the States. At the same time, she got blood work done. Not surprisingly, she was a bit malnourished and her cholesterol level was a bit high. Although she stayed at Airbnb in Tokyo and Hawaii and cooked her own meals, it wasn't the same as food grown in the community garden and wild-caught fish, so she made an appointment with the clinic's nutritionist. Also, when she tried on her Northern California Renaissance Fair outfit, she couldn't fit into her corset, so she went downstairs to the Adaptive Fitness Center, made an appointment with the backup personal trainer. Chachi was out on work vacation with Jonathan. Much to her relief, after 2 months of carefully planned meals and strength training regimen that focused on her core, her cholesterol level went back to normal, and she was able to wear her corset easily. This was the first wake-up call that she needed. She's no longer a young adult, and the busy lifestyle will catch up with her. Also, she made a mental note to keep travel at a minimum starting in the new year. Moreover, she also worked with the staff at the clinic to prepare for her change in status from senior health educator to independent consultant. She also made appointments with her eye doctor and dentist, much to her relief there wasn't any changes there. Also, she called the immigration attorney in New York City with her father's return date. At this time, they set up a date when he'll fly to San Francisco to get her father's immigration process started. And she set up a physical exam for her father as well, as blood work from the clinic to assess her father's health, and if he needs to be detoxified from living in the hasty constructed home in their former hometown. At the studio, Erica also got her defensive driver certification updated. She also worked with Michael to get the grand unit ready for her father's temporary stay. She also used this time to hire a lawyer to sign the document stating that she is legally emancipated from her father. Also, she needs to protect him from being kidnapped, since she's not going to pay any ransom. That way, it would deter any potential kidnapper from thinking they'll make easy money off of her. Also, the studio had weekly meetings. So far, her first film made over $10 million. And they're getting additional movie theaters to show her film. Erica was thrilled. At this time, she made appointments with local senior community centers and food banks to see what they can do to pay it forward. She and Michael also went back to their accountant, see the minimum she needs to donate so she won't get hit too hard next year's income tax. From mid-July to mid-August, Kim and Richard boarded Halia with them so they can go on vacation. At this time, they saw the neighbor Lisa teach her daughter Olivia how to drive. Children grow up so fast. Olivia has already started attending community college in San Francisco. She will go to a trade school or university soon. Mid-August, Ashley, Kim, and Richard returned from their vacation. At this time, Richard picked up Halia from Erica Richard's home. The rest of the month, Erica and Michael prepared for Alex and Chachi's return. So, questions, comments, constructive criticisms, asking for clarification. If I do find a halfway decent video of organ color eye, I'll include that in the description box below. And I shall see you next time. Take care.